All right, you guys, let's get a closer look at all of the new iPhones and a bunch of the new accessories. Let's unbox them. All right, here it is, you guys, the entire iPhone 17 and Air lineup. Now we've got a lot to go through, so the chapters are definitely your friend. Let's take a closer look at what you get, starting with the 17. So obviously inside of the box, you get the 17, as well as a charging cable, which is the USB-C to C braided cable. And of course, you get some paperwork. But that's what you get inside of the box of the 17. Now let's take a look at this guy. It's that pop at the end. It's crazy. But here it is. This is the new iPhone 17. For the most part, it has a very familiar design. They haven't changed much in terms of the overall looks, but they did change the overall size. So this is now a 6.3 inch display, increased from 6.1 inches. So now it's the same size as like the Pro model, the base Pro model. So it has a bigger and improved display, which we're gonna talk about. But we gotta pour one out for this guy. The Plus model is no more. This color is no more, and that is problematic. Why? Why, Apple? This was perfection. And speaking of colors, this guy right here is the new lavender color, and there's a few other colors as well. There's black, white, mist blue, sage, and like I said, lavender. Anyway, there's no more Plus model. If you were that person, that is now basically replaced by the Air, but Apple did some really great improvements to the base model screen. So now we finally have Pro Motion. In layman's terms, this is going to look a lot smoother as you interact with it. You're swiping around the menus, you're just in games, you're doing different things. So that is very welcome. And it also helps with the battery life because it's an adaptive refresh rate. One other improvement that they have here is a 3000 nit peak brightness. That means if you take this thing outside, you're not gonna have any issues seeing what's on your screen. It is gonna be more than bright enough to be able to just see whatever content you need to, even with the sun beaming. Not to mention, Apple also applied a 7-layer anti-reflective coating on this screen. So that means when you are outdoors or even indoors, you're gonna get less reflections and glare on your screen. So, watching content on this screen or just using it is gonna be more enjoyable no matter the kind of lighting condition you're in. And last but not least, this thing also has Apple's Ceramic Shield 2. So it should help with durability in terms of like scratches, drops, cracking, that kind of stuff. And I'll tell you guys, with the addition of this new display, this makes the iPhone 17 a lot more recommendable in my eyes. Well, I'll have to test it and let you guys know for sure how it performs. But with the new chip and this display, this is no longer just the budget option. This on paper should be an all-around really good device, just more affordable than the rest. But they also added a couple of nice improvements with the cameras, especially the front-facing camera. So over here with our front-facing camera, let me move over. You can see that now it is actually a lot wider. And this is Apple's new center stage camera lens. So you can get more into the shot. But what's also nice is that you can basically get a landscape shot by just pressing a button and you're keeping the full quality of the sensor. So what that basically means now is that you get your wide angle shot like this without having to do the awkward phone hold. Everyone's always afraid of dropping their phone, or just like, it feels weird when you're trying to take a selfie and getting more people in and you're doing it like this. No more. Now you just hold it normally, get your full shot, and your life is a lot easier. Now there's also some cool smart aspects to this too, because the phone can automatically detect when you've got multiple people in your shot and it'll automatically widen. And if you want to come over to Oscar's right, and then it'll automatically go landscape to get even more people in the shot. Let me know how much you guys like this feature, because everyone at the keynote was going crazy when they saw that. And I'm not gonna lie, I was one of them. My favorite part with this feature though is that it's not just with this device, it's actually the entire lineup that has it. And in the rear, for the first time, we've got dual 48 megapixel fusion camera lenses. The top one right here is our ultra wide, and then we have our main wide at the bottom. And with that, we should see some real solid improvements to the camera quality. But what's also nice is that this finally starts at 256 gigs, so people won't get screwed over with the 128 8 option. So that is a nice bump up. And the last thing to note now is that the charging speed has actually increased on this guy. So you can get up to like 50% in 20 minutes with the right charger. And if you guys need the right accessories, I got a video for you guys. It's coming soon. All the best accessories you can get for the iPhone, your boy got you. But essentially, that's everything you need to know about the iPhone 17. And if you're curious about what it looks like in the case, boom, silicone case from Apple. I'm a big fan of the silicone case. They wear down over time, but the grippiness, I love these cases, I'm not gonna lie. But now, let's talk about the new guy. So what we've got right here is the new iPhone Air. That is this ridiculously thin phone. Every time. But here it is, you guys. This is the iPhone Air, 5.6 millimeters thin. This thing is absolutely tiny. Now, obviously there's a big focus on dimensions because of how thin it is, but it's also got a pretty large display. This is a 6.5-inch display, and it's got all of the bells and whistles that we saw with the 17 and the Pro lineup. So that means we've got ProMotion, 120 hertz, that 3000 nits of peak brightness, which means it's gonna get really bright, Ceramic Shield 2. So all the things you want out of Apple's screens, you've got here. So premium screen, and it sits at that 6.5 inches. It kind of sits in the middle of the other devices, kind of like the way the Plus model, the like 16 Plus used to sit. This is in the middle of the smaller ones and the largest Max over here. Inside of here, we have Apple's new A19 Pro chip. It's essentially the exact same chip, but like a tick below. So the idea here is you get a thin, compact phone with a sizable screen. But this is a polished finish, so you will see some fingerprints over time, but feel this, Gene.
I like it. It feels fun, actually.
It feels solid. And that's because it has a titanium frame. So instead of just like using aluminum, it's actually a titanium frame.
I'd be scared to deal with it.
Yeah, right?
It's really, really thin.
But Apple says this is extremely durable, and I actually saw some testing that they did. I saw this thing get bent with 132 pounds of force. And when I tell you this thing, it bent, but as soon as they finished the test and like they stopped the machine from pushing down on it, it snapped right back like nothing happened. We actually have the sky blue version right here, but they also have cloud white, space black, and light gold. Interestingly enough, those are all like pro colors, right? Like you would expect that color palette to be on the Pro models, but we're having it here. And I think Apple's doing that on purpose to really give off like the premium feel that this thing has. Now with this kind of design, Apple has gone eSIM only for this model. So for the folks around the world who still rely on SIM cards, or maybe you just prefer SIM cards, that's not gonna be an option here. Now there's something we haven't talked about yet, and that's the camera. So front-facing camera-wise, we have that center stage camera with all those nice features, but in the back, we're looking at Apple's 48 megapixel fusion camera lens. It's a wide angle lens, and it's a slightly different lens than the main wide angle lens on the Pro model. They're at different focal lengths. And the big thing is like what kind of photos can you get with something like this? So let's take a look. All right, so when you open up the camera app, you get 1 and 2 times zoom options. That's all you get. But of course, you can keep tapping that 1 for different focal lengths. So you have 26 millimeter, 35, and then you have your 2 times. Now, of course, you can zoom in some more, all the way up to 10. It's not a bad shot. If it were something a little further away, all right, I took a picture of B's desk. Oh wow, it does a lot of post-processing to kind of clean that up. We'll see, we'll keep testing, but the zoom is more capable here than I would have expected. Now the biggest concern I think most people are going to have with this is battery life, because you know, with a thinner phone, there's just gotta be less battery. But Apple says that this thing should basically have the same video playback hours as the iPhone 16 Pro. Now this is where we gotta put this thing through a real day in the life to see how the battery really performs. I'm curious myself, so I'm dying to start using this, but in my real day in the life review, you'll have all your answers. Now here's the thing, the Air got like a bunch of new accessories. Let's take a look at those. So this is Apple's clear case. I was curious to see if cases would just take away the appeal, because obviously it makes it a little bit thicker, but this barely adds much to it. Now this is Apple's new bumper case. So this is for the Air as well. That looks really good. I mean, sky blue definitely is fitting here with this look. But I haven't pointed out to you guys these little extra holes at the bottom of all of these cases, whether it's the clear case or even the case for the iPhone 17, they've got these holes, and that's because Apple just dropped another new accessory. So these are the loops that you add to your iPhone cases. Obviously, this is not meant for me, but I can appreciate this because it is really high quality. There's actually magnets inside of here to make sure it is a clean strap. So the idea here is you throw it around your body, kind of like, you know, you would with maybe your camera or something. Photographers know you use your straps for your camera. It's a clean looking strap and it comes in multiple colors. And I know this strap thing is like actually really popular. There are a lot of people who use straps for their phones. And we mentioned earlier, if you're like a charm person and you like adding charms to your phone, it just got a lot easier to do that. And the last accessory we're gonna talk about with the Air is the new MagSafe battery. This is the iPhone Air battery. It is the first MagSafe battery that Apple has come out with since their first one, with the iPhone 12. So it's not only for the Air, it can work on any of the other devices, but it is built for the Air. I'll show you guys. This is a longer battery pack because of the way the bump is situated here. So if you were to try to put this on a different device, it's just not gonna sit there. But you can do it like sideways and it'll work, but clearly this is not how you wanna use it. Now we are on the pros and we don't even gotta go over it. This is what you get in the box. You get your USB-C cable, your paperwork. Let's take a look at these. So this one right here, this is the iPhone 17 Pro, and this is the Pro Max. So we've got them in some really special colors. This guy is the new cosmic orange that everyone is falling in love with. Shockingly, like I don't think I'd ever like really go after an orange device, but this is the one I would rock with the 17 Pro Max. But then when I look at this one, I'm like, I could do this too. And this guy is in deep blue, and the last one is straight up silver. So with these phones, Apple went back to their unibody design using aluminum, but this portion right here is glass using Apple's ceramic shield. And they use this glass so you don't lose out on wireless charging. And they're using this whole aluminum design to help with the thermals of this phone. And in terms of the displays, you know, it's the same ProMotion displays, also 3000 nits of peak brightness. So all the things, all the bells and whistles, you still have them on the Pro models. Now overall, from a button perspective, everything looks the same. Power button, camera control, volume, action button. But you might notice this little strip right here. This is a millimeter wave antenna, so helps with like the 5G connectivity, that kind of thing. That's what this is for those of you wondering. And I gotta say guys, these phones feel really solid. Like they give off sturdy, and that's definitely because of the unibody design here. Like you can just feel it. Once it gets in your hand, it has some nice heft to it. I wouldn't call it heavy, but it does have a little bit of heft to it, but like in that premium good sense. So the phone really does look quite a bit different. We already talked about the glass portion over here, but we also have this much larger camera bump, and Apple's calling it their Camera Plateau, but there's actually a lot going on here. Apple moved up a lot of the internals, like the chips and all that kind of stuff. They moved it up to this whole section. So it's the full-blown A19 Pro chip that's inside of here. And by moving a lot of those up, we got space for a much larger battery. So this is supposed to have the best battery on an iPhone ever. I'm excited to try that out because battery is always a good thing. But they've also added what's called a vapor chamber. So with this unibody design and the vapor chamber, this phone's not gonna get as hot as the previous models. So that is going to help with the thermals a lot. So things like playing games, using AI, charging it even, anything that produces a lot of heat is going to be handled a lot better. So this phone shouldn't get nearly as hot as previous versions. And when it does get warm, instead of it building up in like one part of the phone, it's sent throughout the entire thing. So it dissipates really well. And that vapor chamber is a big part of that. Basically, it's like water locked inside here in a cool way to keep everything cool. Now, without the phone getting hot, this means that A19 Pro can work way harder and for a longer period of time. And it should lead to 40% better sustained performance. 40% is a lot, so I'm gonna push it and see how that goes. We're also going to see improvements to the cameras, and all three cameras are now 48 megapixel fusion cameras. Now I know I've been talking a lot about these fusion camera lenses, and if you don't know what that means, basically when these things take photos, they take two photos and combine them and make a much cleaner image. Now, another really nice benefit is you get to zoom in optically, which basically means you get to zoom in a little bit without losing quality. Let me show you guys. So in the camera app, you'll notice when you press the 1 multiple times, you're zooming in and you got like these different focal lengths. You're basically able to zoom in, grab a photo, and it looks clean. You can do that up to 2 with the main camera lens. And then now with the telephoto, you got 4 and it's no longer 5. So you have 4 and then you can go up to 8. And all of that is basically like the full quality. It's not a digital zoom unless you go past that 8 and then you're doing something like this. Another nice tidbit is that you can now go all the way up to 40. And let's see, that looks rough. Then it's gonna clean it up. Then it looks pretty decent. Now Apple says it's like having 8 camera lenses in one because you have the 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then with this, you can get like a macro shot and that's your 8. So they do give you a lot of options to work with. Now, some of my favorite new features that you can kind of pull off with these new cameras, one is actually this, dual capture. So if you're recording something like what we've been pointing at, you can record it and you can record yourself at the same time. For somebody like me who's always talking about products, this is great. I've been waiting for this. And since these are the pros, you get some pro features like ProRes RAW. So ProRes RAW means, you know, lots of data in your camera footage so that you can go ahead and edit them. That's like way more into the professional side. And we'll tap that in the review, but you get that. You're gonna need a lot of storage for files like that, I'm sure. But thankfully, this goes all the way up to 2 terabytes of storage. So it starts at 256, goes all the way up to 2 terabytes, which is a first for Apple. I don't know if I'd buy a 2 terabyte version, but whenever I try to shoot log ProRes stuff, it always says I'm out of space for some reason. So maybe it might be worth considering. Like I said, these feel really solid in the hand, but let's try some cases. So first up, we've got Apple's clear case. I don't know how I feel about that. That big white MagSafe portion, it takes away from like the look, the orange that was back there. I'm not a fan. I think I like the feel of the case and everything, but it would definitely be better with the silver. Now, there's a new kind of case also called the Tech Woven case. Now, I've had another case in the past called their Fine Woven case. I don't know if that really withstood the test of time, but this Tech Woven case is done in a completely different way. So I'm gonna pop that in here. What do you guys think? I like this. And what's interesting is like when you look really close on the actual stitching, it's like multiple colors that make this blue. This I could get behind. Now, Apple also came out with a new charger. This is their 40-watt dynamic power adapter. This is an interesting charger because it can do a sustained 40 watts, and if a device needs it, it can go all the way up to 60 watts. That's the thing that I'm kind of confused about. So let's run a super quick test. Now with this cable, I can see just how much juice is going into the phone. So I'm seeing that it's like, you know, charging pretty close to 40. It's been chilling around 36. But I guess the idea here is if you wanted to take this and charge like a laptop, and then it gets closer to that 60 watt number. So basically the idea for this charger is you can use it for your phone, and then if you need to use it for like one of your other larger Apple devices, it should provide a lot of juice to those as well. Probably not the best for like a MacBook Pro or doing anything like really work intensive, but would definitely help you out in a pinch. And last but not least, the last man standing. This is a really soft feeling material and is definitely different from the Tech Woven, but boom. I got those fine woven wallet cases for those of you who rock those. And that's everything for this massive iPhone 17 and Air unboxing. Let me know what you guys think. Like, what is your favorite phone? Let me know with a comment down below. We got mad videos to come, so make sure you're subscribed, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.